Welcome to another episode of Boss Talk Podcast with Terry, the electrician. Today, I have the incredible Mona Sims of SSG Academy, and we are going to chop it up. So, how you doing today, Mona?
I'm great. How about yourself?
Outstanding. If I get any better, I wouldn't be able to take it. Outstanding. Outstanding.
That's right.
So I'm so glad to have you finally on the Boss Talk. We talked about doing this, and we finally got our schedules together and making it happen. So I'm really excited to get into this thing with you today and just kind of get the people a little bit different look at Mona in the middle and let them get to know you a little bit better.
And I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Now let's first start out with this, because I look at your name. I know we call you Mona, we call you Moni, but I'm looking at your name and I'm going, if I try to pronounce her name, I'm going to mess up her name. So, how do you actually pronounce your first name?
Monica. And that's why I just chop it all the way down to Mona. My grandma always called me Mona Lisa. So that's where Mona come in at. My grandmother don't even know how to pronounce my name. But it's Monica. It's Monique with a C-A on the end. Yes, my parents jacked me up.
Hey, could have been worse.
Right.
It definitely could have been worse.
Could have been so much worse.
But that is a beautiful name. That's what, and I was like, I'm not going to even attempt. I could, but nah, I want to mess it up.
It's Monica. It's a Spanish name, actually, Monica.
Oh,
I was the only one in Spanish didn't get to, you know how when you go to Spanish class and they change your name, they didn't ever change mine.
Yeah, mine was Enrique because they used my last name.
So they didn't change it first? No,
I don't know if they couldn't come up with something for Terry. I don't know why. They just said, we're gonna call you Enrique. I was like, okay. So let me ask you now. You got started in business pretty early. I think watching your Power Block episode, you was talking about that you actually got started your first business at like 21.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happened was, me and my best friend at the time, her mom owned a grocery store, and so she ended up selling us the store. So we got the store from her. We redid it because it was closed down when we got it from her. So she didn't want to open it back up. So we opened it back up. We redid the whole store. We tiled the floors, everything. We stocked the store with groceries and all that. And we were open for a little while before Jacksonville. We were in Jacksonville, Florida. So Jacksonville got this thing called DART, where they'll come dart a building if it ain't up to like the electrical code.
Mm-hmm.
And so she sold it to us knowing that it wasn't up to the standard. And so that was like my first lesson in business. And we were young, so we didn't have the money to, bring it up to standard. So that business didn't last that long, but that was my first attempt.
Okay. So you got bit by the entrepreneur bug early on.
Yes, early.
Okay, cool. You also mentioned that you was born in New Jersey. How old were you when you left New Jersey to move to Jacksonville?
I think I was around 7. So yeah, I was born in Long Branch, New Jersey. I think I was about 7. So I was raised in Jacksonville. So I went to school there. So I know way more about, Jacksonville, Florida than I know about Jersey.
Okay. So for all intents and purposes, you're a Florida girl.
Exactly. I wish I could have stayed long enough to get that New Jersey accent. This Southern accent drives me crazy.
You really don't have, it's funny. You really don't have a Southern accent.
You don't think so?
To me, no.
See, you're slowly becoming one of my favorite people.
No, you really don't. And it's funny because I've met a lot of people, been in the military and all that. And when I tell them I'm from Georgia, well, I say Atlanta, and we'll get more into the difference between being from Atlanta and being from the rest of Georgia. But they automatically go, "Where's your Southern accent?"
Yeah, I don't think you have. Look, the people that are from here, you can tell they are from here.
And I'm born and raised here.
Yeah, I totally assumed that you moved here from somewhere.
No, I'm a
Like
Grady
I would
baby.
never guess that you were from here.
I'm a Grady baby, born and raised in Fourth Ward, no doubt.
Okay. Okay. No, yeah, you don't have the accent.
Yeah, I never really picked it up. Even growing up, I just never really picked it up. But yeah, that's interesting. So in Jacksonville, what was it like growing up in Jacksonville?
Hot. You know, we got hot summers. I mean, not hot summers, we have hot Christmases, you know. So it was like a lot of times it just didn't feel like Christmas because it was hot, you know. So we wanted to get, you know, white Christmases and stuff like that. But I mean, I guess it was just, I mean, it was just Florida. That's all I knew. It was just it was great because, you know, my whole mom's side of the family was there. So we were always surrounded by a lot of family. But I mean, I don't think Jacksonville was slow. I always just felt like, you know, because I was supposed to be an actress. Okay. So I felt like I was a big fish in a small pond. So I always wanted to leave Jacksonville. Like the first time I had the chance, I was out of there. But most people from Jacksonville, I'm gonna say the guys from Jacksonville do not like to leave. If they do, they go back home. Yeah, they do not like to leave Jacksonville. They love Jacksonville.
Okay, let's talk about this acting thing. Did you ever actually do it or go into it or do any training in it?
Yeah, I took a lot of drama courses. I took drama in high school. I also took it in college. I took it at Georgia State when I moved out here also. So, but it was more so like as a hobby. I always wanted to create, like have like a couple different businesses. And when I did acting, it was just for the love of it. So I dabbled in a lot, but I mean a little bit, but not as much as I wanted to.
Okay. So you think maybe you might get back to it eventually?
I doubt it. I doubt it. I don't know. I may, you know, I may open up an acting studio or something like that just to be involved in it a little bit, maybe something like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know. I might jump in a couple stage plays. You know, I can't sing though. What I seen, one of the students came through the through my school. He gave me a new saying for singing. He said he sings so low that nobody can hear him. That's what I do.
Oh, he sings solo. So low that nobody else can hear it. Oh, I like that. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm gonna have to remember that one.
I know it. Look, I said, oh, I'm still in that.
That's a good one. All right, so let's talk a little bit about SSG Academy because, you know, I'm gonna kind of bounce around a little bit because, as you know, I don't do anything orthodox or anything regular or anything normal. I got to be different.
Right.
So let's talk about. Oh no! Before we get to SSG Academy, you mentioned something about an eBay store. It was one of the business that you had. I'm just gonna run this. I'm gonna run this down pretty quick. You said you had an eBay store. You bought cars from auction. You had a residential cleaning service. You also had a commercial cleaning service at one point that you started, but you, due to circumstances that you did not, proceed with. But let's talk about, and we're gonna get to the pine straw and rolling down them hills too. Before we get there, let's talk about this eBay store. I don't miss much.
Oh my God.
I don't catch everything, but I don't miss much. So let's talk about this eBay store. What kind of items and stuff did you was you selling on your eBay store?
Man, I love my eBay store. So I used to be a reporter at this company, and she was my regional manager. She loved me, and she was just telling me about her eBay store, and she said she told a lot of people about it, and I had started it. She was like, I didn't think you were going to actually start one because I told so many people about it. Nobody ever did it. So I was basically selling. You remember Victoria's Secret used to have a catalog where they sold clothes and stuff, and yeah, they sold clothes, and because most of mine was their clothes. They don't sell them no more. But I had a place where I got them real cheap, like a couple dollars, and I could sell them on my store for like, $40, $50 and up. So, and a lot of Victoria's Secret jackets. So I basically So Victoria's Secret stuff. I can't remember what name my store was. It was like big. I can't remember it. But no, it was the cheapest link at the time. But at one point, I think I changed it to Victoria something. But it was like all Victoria's Secret catalog stuff. Oh, and I also sold like Michael Kors bags before Nicki Minaj mentioned it in a song, and then everybody started. It wasn't a replica out when I sold them. So I sold a lot of Michael Kors bag, Coach bags. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. That's one business that I really enjoyed. Until the recession hit, people wouldn't spend as much money.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I probably would put like, have 50 items up, and I probably will sell about 35 to 40. After the recession, if I put 50 up, I might sell like 10.
Okay. Yeah. Supply and demand. I mean, you got all the supply, but the demand ain't there because people ain't thinking about all that fancy stuff. They thinking about surviving.
Mm-hmm.
So, which by the way is a good segue into what we do now. What you do in training people in appliance repair, and what I started doing in 2020, to add to my list of services for my customers.
Right.
So, tell me about the thing with the cars. You bought cars from the auction, bought and sold cars. How that seemed like that must have been kind of interesting.
It was very interesting, and it would have went far if my kid's father at the time, we were together, and it was something he did. So I stopped working to help him. So every single thing I researched everything. So I would research every car to go get. I gave him a little they had the car MD back then. I don't know if they still have it. Checks the engine, the engine light and stuff. So I researched the car. I tell him to go get this car. Don't spend no more than this. And this the most you can spend, this the least. And if it's over that, don't get the car. Every single car I sent him to get made money. Every car he got, we made no. He calling me, hey, call AAA. When he leave at the auction, he done broke down outside the auction. Call AAA, tell him come pick me up. I'm like, I said, stop buying the cars on red light. Okay, people run their junk through the auction. If it's not on green light, do not get the cars. So I think if that was something that I did by myself, I probably would still be in it. But he just he wouldn't listen to me. Like he was fighting me. So everything I did made money. Everything he got, we didn't make any money from.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What would you say is the worst thing about being in business?
The worst thing is, I think it's like having a lot of employees, because you have to worry about people showing up. You just, I would say, I love employees I have, but I like to just keep it at a minimum. But anything, I just ask God, just send me something where I can have just a handful of employees. Because coming from McDonald's and dealing with a lot of employees, and any restaurant industry where you have to deal with a lot of employees, it's hard when you have to just depend on other people. So for me, I prefer a business where I only have a handful, 2 or 3 employees. I'm good. Maybe 5 at the most.
Yeah, I feel you on that. When I started my company in 99, I think probably about 2000, a year later, I had about 10 people working for me. And it was a freaking nightmare. Everybody got paid but me.
I know. Look, I know that feeling like,
because I did everything in my power to make sure they get paid so they can keep working. And I look up at the end of the week and, my pocket is empty. I'm like, exactly. This ain't how it's supposed to be. But
that's how it was with my cleaning service.
Yeah, I have to admit, I was clueless about running a business too, because I didn't have no guidance. I didn't have no YouTube that I can go look at. It wasn't no appliance boot camps, and it wasn't none of that stuff. Wasn't none of that going on back then. You know what I mean? There was no I don't know if the E-Myth might have been out back then, but I wasn't reading books like that. So I was just, I was out there just trying to figure it out.
Me too. Yeah. Look, you learn some very expensive lessons. Yeah. So like, yeah, even when I started appliance repair, I ain't had no boot camp. I ain't had no guide or nothing. I was out there learning. Same way Mike said he was out there learning too before he created the boot camp. Yep. But I learned some very expensive lessons. Very expensive lessons, man.
Yeah. I got this contract. We did this job for this guy who had $1 million contract just fall in his lap. It was with a local, well, I'll just say it was with Cobb County Transit. This is back when they was just putting the bus line and stuff up in Cobb County. He got the contract as a GC. He was clueless as a GC, but I don't know how he got it, but he got the contract. Well, we came in, we had done some work at his house. They built a screen-in porch on the back of his house, and we wired that for him. So he came to me and said, "Hey, man, I just got this $1 million contract. I need an electrician." He says, I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I got the contract. The electrical part was $250,000.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, I even said it backwards. Wow.
Oh, that's how you say it backwards.
I mean, I was like, I'm like maybe a year. I don't even think I was even a year in business at this point because I hadn't even hired all the people yet. Yeah, I wasn't even a good year in business yet. And this thing fell in my lap. And all I saw was $250,000. And I was like, oh yeah, we're going to get this.
Right.
Man, that was one of the biggest mistakes. I lost so much money on that thing. I didn't make a dime. Not only did I not make a dime, I lost a grip. From paying all them people, because that's when I started hiring all these people, paying all these guys, buying all this material. I bought material up front out of pocket.
Right.
And we didn't get paid until we got a finished product. And what it was each bus stop it was 250 of them because it was $1,000 each. Each bus stop had an electrical display on the bus stop on the side of it for advertisement that lit up.
Yeah.
And we was wired. That's what we was doing. We was wiring. We had to bring power from the nearest power source and bring it over.
Oh, okay.
Dig underground, run underground conduits and stuff like this. Right.
That was a good contract.
It would, if I knew what I was doing. Yeah, if I knew what I was doing, it would have been a great contract. But yeah, I blew that, man. We need to complete 10 of them things. So I had to walk away.
See, most people, they don't share like the struggles of business. A lot of people see the glamorous side of the business, like the after effect, not everything you went through to get there. Like it's struggle, it's hard, you give up a lot, and a lot of people don't know, like you're in it by yourself until you actually start to make it. Like you don't have cheerleaders. You don't have people saying, good job along the way. Good job. People really hop on when they start seeing it, when other people start, especially your family. A lot of people get discouraged because their family not supporting them. I tell them, like, look, you got to be your own cheerleader. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to be your own cheerleader because they're not going to support you until they start seeing proof that it's working. And that's when everybody get on the bandwagon. I've been in it by myself for a long time, and I have entrepreneurs in my family, but I still had to make a believer of them because they weren't supporting me up until I got to a certain point, so it's hard. And people, they don't see that part of it. They see the glamour, once you make it, and they think it's easy. No, it ain't easy. I may make it look like it's easy, but it ain't.
Speaking of that, let's talk about your residential cleaning service, because I know you mentioned some issues with that.
Yeah, man, with that cleaning service, I'm telling you. So I learned a lot with that cleaning service. Every business has been just learning lessons. So I don't call them failures, but it's been learning lessons. I learned how to do my my online marketing because I had hired a marketing company that just got my phone ringing off the hook. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to leave this computer until I can get my phone ringing how they got my phone ringing. And so that's when I taught myself how to do Google AdWords. And so once I got my phone ringing, I let them go. So, but you know, it's expensive. It costs. So I'm sending cleaners out, you know, to customers, and these brand new customers, because I'm getting it from Google AdWords. You know, they're out, they're soliciting my customers, you know, customers soliciting them. You do, you know, I'll go out, they don't know I'm the owner. Mona, do you do work on the side? No, you have to go through do cleaning excellence. You know, so I already know they solicit my cleaners, and they're not saying no like me. You know, they're saying, yeah, I do it on the side, you know, and then some of the cleaners I solicit. Now I've had customers call me and tell me that cleaners, you know, tried to make, you know, get them to make a deal with them. So it was just a big headache because I'm paying for these customers. Y'all getting paid because I'm paying y'all. I'm paying for these customers. I'm the only one not getting paid. So, you know, after not getting paid for so long, you know, you have to shut it down and say, I don't want no business. I got to depend on other people.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's all about being, you know, it's really about partnerships, you know, and how you look at these relationships, you know, because business, life in general, as a human being, everything is about relationships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you boil it all down, it's all about relationships. The relationships you have with your family, the relationship you have with your colleagues, you know, whatever, the relationships you have with your customers, the relationships you have with your employees. It's all about those relationships. And I think one of the things that's not really talked about in the entrepreneur space is the importance of how you build those relationships. Right. And focusing on building strong relationships. You know what I mean? From the ground, from the ground up. You know, and that's been fortunate for me. I've been over the years, I've done it not really knowing, but the last several years, it's all been very, very deliberate and methodical as to how I build relationships with my customers and with what I call strategic partnerships with others, you know, that support my business.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's really key that we really dig into developing strong relationships with people.
Yeah. And that's something I'm just really starting to do, like within, I'm gonna say the last 5 years, maybe. Because before I just was like in it alone. But now I am seeing the importance of building good relationships and joining like entrepreneur groups, getting around like-minded people. See, that's one of the reasons that I didn't become an actress, because I wasn't around like-minded people. You know, I went in groups and stuff. If had I been in groups, I would have went further. So same with entrepreneur, you need to be in part of different entrepreneur groups, like-minded people. You know, people that you can toss your ideas off and on, you know, you're in a safe space, people not going to take your ideas and run with it. So like soundboards, you know, so that has become very important to me.
Yeah, a good place for that is like mastermind groups. If you find a good mastermind group, oh my goodness, it's whew, I'm telling you. And I've been talking with my local trades, you know, people and stuff over the years about trying to put something together like that, but these jokers just don't seem to be all that interested in doing it. I said, okay, no problem.
Oh, well, look, we need to get together and put one together between me, you, Mike, and look, let's get us a mastermind group together for real. Because I mean, I just feel like we all got to do big things in this appliance repair industry, you know, and you don't have to stop here. Just we need to get together and put our own mastermind group together.
Yeah, 100%, because, you know, we all as entrepreneurs, we all got certain vision for as what we see and the direction we're headed, right? A lot of us may have different paths, but at the end of the day, we can support and encourage and assist each other to do, you know, what they say, if you want to go quick, go by yourself, but if you want to go far, you know, run with others. I don't know the exact quote, I know it, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the whole premise of the mastermind, the whole Think and Grow Rich phenomenon. You know, it's talked about having a mastermind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's really important, man, to build those relationships. And what I call, like I said, I talk a lot about strategic partnerships, because being strategic in business is another key. You gotta think things through in a logical sequence, and then you can go in and implement this the tactical side of it. And I think that may come from some of my military, because that's kind of the way they kind of drill that kind of stuff in your mind.
Right.
But if anybody that's got a successful business is definitely operating on a strategic level first. Yeah. Before just implementing this, we got all kind of information. There's no shortage of information. You know what I mean? But what do you do? How do you take that information and make it work for you?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that being said, your uncle's McDonald's. You said you came in and whipped that thing into shape. He had all, I think you said he had like 7 of them.
Yeah.
And you just came in. So you came in like a 6 Sigma black belt and just turned everything around, right?
Turn it around. Look, y'all doing that this way. You can do it this way, and you can cut this amount of time. So I'm all into working smarter, not harder. I'm telling you, on all my jobs, like if it took, like even that job, that's why that job I told you about, my regional manager, she loved me because, man, when it took them 8 hours to do it, took me 2 hours. They were like, how do you do it? How do you do it? I was like, I said, y'all just be thinking too much into it. You just got to work smarter, and so that's what I do. I will put systems into place, that's going to get the job done more efficient and quicker. I'm into like maximizing my time. So yeah, so when I came in and I was, I can just see how they're doing this and how they're doing that. And I can always come up with an easier and quicker way to get it done. So I've done it too for like James, he owns Appliance Care. I did it for him with his appliance business, to where put some systems in to where I was like, well, I said, I'll have your office running like clockwork. Okay. In about 3 weeks, it was running like clockwork. And it just takes no time. Like I eliminated a job for him. Like he had a parts person. After I got that, you don't even need to hire nobody for that, because what used to take somebody an hour and a half to do, now it takes 5 minutes. So I'm all about implementing systems that's going to make it quicker, smarter, not harder. So yeah. So I did it with my Uncle McDonald's too. And so, my cousin, he used to work in the office with me, my uncle's son. And he's like, I just love how you just came in and just give us a better way to do things, And so that's just always been in me. I'm always looking for the best way to do something.
That's a serious skill. So what do you attribute that to? Because that's a real skill.
And I always say, I really don't have like skills and talents and stuff, but
yes, you do.
I guess that is, I don't know. It's just coming to me naturally. And it could just be from, my jobs I've had in the past. I don't know. I really don't know where it just comes natural. I always see a better way to do something that it don't take that long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can look at it this way. Talents are naturally given. I look at talents as gifts as God's gifts that we come here with. Skills are something that you can acquire and build on.
Right.
So we all got certain talents that we can take.
But
and if you develop those talents, you obviously you do.
No, I said, that's come in and give me no talents.
Because it's the way you see things. You know what I mean? It's about the way you see things. You see things differently from other people. Like you have an eye to come in and look at this system and say, this is broken. I can do this, and this, and this will fix that. That's a talent you have that other people are going to schools and stuff, paying big money trying to acquire as a skill.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, they're there. Yeah. But once we learn how to cultivate those talents, that's when they start to pay off.
Right.
And that's what I see based on what you've said. That's how I see that you've learned how to cultivate these talents over time unknowingly.
Yeah.
But yet and still you've been able to do it.
Yeah, because it come like second nature to me. I mean, like, they be like, how do you do? I'm like, I mean, and I always be like, God, you didn't give me no talents. Look, I'm the only one in my family that can't sing and dance, like on both sides. You know, they can on my dad's side, they can dance. On my mom's side, they can sing and dance. I was like, God, you didn't give me no talents. Like, what talents? But now you let me know today, he did give me a talent.
Yeah, because he was sitting there going, girl, you better recognize. Recognize. I gave it to you.
Right.
Better recognize. You know,
Yeah.
like for me, right? Building rapport with people quickly has been something that I've been innately able to do without really thinking too much about it. Like
Right.
with my customer base, oh my God, because my thing is, when I try to teach this and it's almost impossible to teach, is relate, resonate, remember. That's the only way I could codify to try to convey it to somebody else. It's just something that I just do automatically. I walk into somebody's house, I automatically see something to relate to.
Okay.
Right? Once I can relate to it, we're gonna have a conversation about that. Right. I listen to the conversation, I listen to them and listen to their story, and then it starts to resonate because it strikes a chord with some experience that I've had. Right. So as time goes on, I may come back to that house multiple times. I remember. It may be a year later, and I'll ask them about something that we talked about the first time we met. And it blows their mind, like, how do you remember that?
Yes.
Or they might have forgot we talked about it, go, how do you even know that? You know,
right.
But it's just something that's innate because I have a genuine interest in getting to know people. You know what I mean? Because it allows me to navigate and do what I need to do more freely and more comfortable. See, once I identify and understand what type of person you are, I know exactly how to deal with you.
Right. Yeah. And I know the customers appreciate the fact that you even remember them.
They love it.
I know.
And that's why they don't call nobody else. And this is not me bragging. This is telling me this.
Yeah, that's a great thing to have, for real. You don't have to worry about nobody stealing your customer.
Yeah, I got customers that go back 10, 15, 20 years.
Wow.
Still to this day.
That's great.
Truly. And so that, I count that as a blessing because I understand that with everything that's going on, we're in Atlanta. The competition out here is insane.
Yes.
You know how many electricians are in Atlanta?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
The year I got my license, there was 4,000 of us to test it.
Wow.
4,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah. During that testing cycle, there were 4,000 of us. Just that one cycle. So I'm like, I'm not special. But at the same time, I don't have no competition.
Right. Yeah,
you don't play their game. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I see SSG Academy. That's why I see you and SSG Academy, because first of all, when I heard about SSG Academy, I was like, she's right here in Georgia? Okay, well, why am I just not finding this out? But I'm just now really getting into the appliance repair community, even though I went through appliance boot camp in 2020. I only did the online. I've never gone through the hands-on. Went through the online in 2020. I started my new company that same year. I started Smart Wire Solutions in March of 2020. That's when the lockdowns started in March of 2020.
Yes.
So I was like oblivious to. There was I never had any doubt in my mind about whether or not the company was going to work because I already got my skills. I already got my customer base. So it was just a business, a switch in business model. But before we get to, because there's a couple few other things I want to ask you, and I don't want to hold you on, too long, but let's talk about the parent straw. Let's talk about one of them businesses you had and dealing with that parent straw. Because that's a quite interesting business to be in. That's definitely a Georgia. Well, it's not just a Georgia thing. It's a Southern thing for sure. It's definitely a Southern thing.
Mm-hmm.
Being that we got so many pine trees here in Georgia, I mean,
Yes.
they're all over my backyard. My neighbor's cutting pine trees down every time I turn around across the street in his yard because he got them all around his house. And it's just something that, it's a staple here.
Right.
But,
yeah. Something we never even known. And my friend who I started it with, she was my best friend at the time, but she was from Jacksonville, like me. They don't do pine straw in Jacksonville. That's North Florida, but I think Panama, is that Florida? Panama is Florida, right?
Panama City, yeah.
Yeah, they do it there. They don't do it in Jacksonville. But yeah, it was something foreign to us. But her uncle, he did it out here. He was big with doing pine straw. And he was asking her to get into business. And she asked me to do it because I had the vehicle. He wouldn't give her no jobs because she didn't have a vehicle. So she was like, come on, do this pine straw with me. And I'm like, I ain't doing no pine straw. Look, I'm trying to do something cute. Look, I ain't been at look, that was way before the appliance repair because they couldn't even believe when I was doing the appliances. Okay. So I was like, girl, I'm trying to do something cute. I ain't trying to be out there, And so I let her talk me into it. Man, we out there with that pine straw. Man, one day we pine straw. We was going up this high hill. We up the hill. And so we carrying the barrels of pine straw, the bales of pine straw. I get up to the top. Man, I come rolling down that hill. And the pine straw was rolling behind me and hit me upside my head. I'm talking about they was laughing at me so bad, man. I'm like, yeah, the pine straw thing wasn't for me, okay? Yeah, it just wasn't. But so that didn't last long. She still does it, but with me, it wasn't for me. I think after pine straw, that's when I went into did I go straight into? No, I was with McDonald's. That was before I went to help my uncle with his McDonald's thing. But yeah, so I did that with her for probably maybe 6 months, but she still do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I fell down enough hills to know that that it wasn't for me. Okay.
Yeah.
But look, since then I've been in the crawl spaces. I've been in like 2 crawl spaces. I went in like 2 or 3 crawl spaces. After that, I was like, look, I tell them to send you another thermostat. I ain't going to no more crawl spaces. Yes, me. They couldn't believe when I went camping. They was like, you went camping? Yeah, I went camping. So for me to go in a crawl space, that nobody, well, everybody know now, but I haven't told people who know me that I've been in crawl spaces.
I got one. You know what? I got one coming up. I got to do some stuff in the crawl space. You're more than welcome to do a ride along.
Yeah, I ain't going no more crawl spaces. I'm good. I'm good on crawl spaces.
Good.
I had a contract with when I had my appliance repair business with Service Live, and Service Live had got the contract with Nest. So I was doing all the Nest doorbells and the thermostats. So my techs would do the more appliance side, and I would do the doorbells and thermostats. So for the thermostats, I had to go in a couple crawl spaces. And attics, I didn't mind the attics as much, but I wasn't going to no crawl spaces. Me and my daughter used to go out there, and my daughter is more prissy than me, and I had her up under them crawl spaces. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So you do the Nest thermostats. Okay, that's cool. I've done quite a few Nest thermostats. They're interesting. They can be a pain though.
Yeah, they can.
A lot of HVAC guys hate Nest thermostats.
I know.
Everyone I talk to hate them. They can't stand them.
I know.
And I know why. Because man, I've just about any problem you can find and run into on a Nest thermostat, I've dealt with it.
See, and I've been kind of lucky with them. Like I didn't have a lot of problems with them, especially only when people need the common wire and stuff like that. But I didn't run into a lot of problems. But I know that the HVAC people, they don't like them.
Yeah.
At all.
Most of my problems came from one house. I put 2 in this one house, And between the two of them, man, you talk about getting your skills up on troubleshooting. They forced me because I was not quit until those thermostats was working perfectly.
And I'm the same way. Like I don't like to let nothing defeat me. Like so I'm gonna be there like forever trying to get it to work.
Unfortunately, this is one of my great customers, you know, and they was like, they wasn't tripping. They was like, yeah, because they be in and out of town most of the time, so they wasn't really tripping about it. But then, you know, they would get the notification on their phone, and if they might have had somebody coming up to the house, like the kids or something might be coming through or whatever, and if during the wintertime it's like cold in a certain part of the house, I would get a call and say, yeah, man, something going on, it shut off again, and I go by there. And so you talk about YouTube University, I'm all over YouTube for just, and that's when I really found out that the HVAC guys hate them things. I mean, this one guy, he was almost cussing. It was so bad. I was like, okay, so now I get it. And I was on another job, and doing a basement, and some HVAC guys we was all in there on the rough end. So I asked them about Nest thermostats, and both of them started cussing. They was just like, I was like, okay.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I was like, what do you think about Nest thermostats? And one laughs and looks over at the other one and says, what do we think about them? They're pieces of shit. That's exactly what he said. I was like, okay.
Wow, I haven't even had any problem with my own Nest thermostat. I love it. Yeah, and so I didn't have a lot of problems when I went out neither. So I think I was just blessed. God was like, look, let me help this girl. The same way he do when I'm driving. Look, I can't drive. I'm tell you right now, God drives that car. He the only reason. I ain't been in no accidents. He'd be like, look, let me help this girl. Okay. So I think he helped me a lot.
So let's get around to appliance repair, and let's talk about women in the trades, because I think that's key.
Yes.
I think that's key. Let's talk about how you feel about, first of all, about being a woman in the trades, and about the value of having more women in the trades.
Yes. Okay. So, about being a woman in trade, I feel, I just feel good about it to where I can fix my own appliances, and it's just something that you always can have. You know, that's something nobody can ever take away from you. And you don't have to if you know how to fix appliances, you don't have to worry about being broke, because you can go out and do it. So I think it's really easy for women too, because we really pay attention to detail. And once you learn how to troubleshoot it, it's just plug and play. You know, the machines could be intimidating until you actually learn it. But I think it's just important for more women to get into the field, because it'll actually give them especially people who, maybe people who got, like low income jobs, but it has to be somebody who I'm not going to say every woman can do it, but it has to be a woman that, will, like if they buy a desk at home, they'll put up that desk. They put things together. Like I used to take things apart and put them together when I was young. So if you can hang some pictures, stuff like that, people who wait on their husband to do it, they most likely they ain't gonna do nothing with appliances. But I think it can give women that are in lower income jobs like a good career, and it's something that you can own your own business with also. So I really would like to partner with, battered women shelters, human sex trafficking survivors, and help some of those women like get, just take control back over their life and build their self-esteem up. Because appliance repair is the gift that keeps on giving. So when you fix something, it lifts you up every time. So I think it could be something to help a lot of women just like regain control back over their life, and plus earn a good living and take care of their families.
Okay. So how did you get started in appliance repair?
Trying to spend time with this guy I was dating, because that's all he do. See, he's everything not to do in appliance repair, because that's why he's still single. All he do, he live in that truck. And so that was the only way I could spend time with him, was to go out and ride with him. And so I wanted him to fix my washer. And I kept asking him to fix my washer. He never had time because he's always working. So when I rode out with him a couple times, one time he fixed the washer just like mine, the same thing that was wrong. And when I seen what he did, I went home and did it myself. And I was like, dang, that's easy. I called one of my girlfriends. I said, girl, we need to be out here repairing appliances, because you really don't even have to get dirty. 90% of the time, you really don't even have to get dirty repairing appliances. So I was like, you need to, I said, we need to be repairing appliances. So I started going out with him more and more. And then he'll send me on a couple service calls for him. And it just kind of started from there.
Okay. So you got your reps in. So what about your appliance repair business?
Yeah. So I started I actually started the business because I was actually trying to create a business so he wouldn't have to work as much, because he don't hire technicians. So he a one-man show. He do like 20, 25 service calls a day. And I'm gonna tell you, when I started my business,
That's insane.
Isn't it? And when I started my business, he was doing more service calls than all my techs. Okay, to put together. Because that's all he do. And he's not in the customer house no more than 15 to 20 minutes. And he's driving from this side of Georgia to this side to this side. So I was trying to create a business and hire techs, because I'm all about working smarter, not harder. So I'm creating a business, hiring some techs that make as much money as you making, and you don't have to work as hard. And so, he still didn't want to slow down. And so that's how I ended up just with the business.
Okay. So how did you transition from your appliance repair business into the SSG Academy? How did you make that transition?
Because I kept, it was hard for me to find good techs. I had techs and they were part changers. And see, I was buying all the parts. So part changing don't work when you spending your own money. So I was buying all the parts. And by the time, I would fire a tech, he got like a car full of parts, because he done went out, tried to change this one, change this one, change. And I was losing a lot of money that way. And I just couldn't find good help. So, I'm about solutions, so I'm like, look, I can't find no techs. I need to open up a school to train people right. So I wanted to shut my business down before they just mess my name out, mess my name up out there, what they was doing. And so I shut it down to open the school to train people properly. And then I said, I'll start it back up again. But now, I'm on the fence if I want to start it back up again or not. But that's how the school came about, because I saw there was a need for technicians.
Okay. So what's your vision for the school? Where do you want to take the school, or where do you want to see the school? Say, a lot of people say, well, with the next 3, 5, 10, 15 years, but ultimately, because, we can put a time limit on something, and it might not just work out in that time span, but ultimately, what is your ultimate goal for SSG Academy?
It's for the classes to be filled up every 2 weeks. Like every 2 weeks, I have a basic appliance class going. Every other weekend, seal system class, and helping like a lot of new entrepreneurs that have come into the field, be able to grow their business instead of being like a one-man show. Because even the guy I was out with, he a one-man show, but when he stopped, he stopped. Like he can only retire with the money he's made in the business. Like he don't have anybody to keep it going. So, so instead of people being a one-man show, they can actually grow their business. And plus they don't have to work as much because they have people working for them. So I really just want to have, make it where it's not known in the appliance repair industry that finding somebody who know how to repair appliances like finding a unicorn, because that's what it's been. But it's way more people in the industry now than it was when I started. But so my vision for the next 5 weeks is to have, a constant flow of students come through. I would love to see more women come through, and also to have like SSG locations, not just in Georgia, but have them in different locations. but I don't want to oversaturate the industry at all. So I want to be a solution to the problem. I don't want to become a problem, you know, to where it's now it's oversaturated.
Okay. So have any of your kids shown any interest in following in your footsteps with that?
They're good at it. Like my daughter, she was really good, but she don't want to do it. My son, he's really good. My son, he's 19 now. He's the one taught me how to use tools. Like when I was going out to do appliances, I didn't know how to use all them tools. My son taught me how to use them. And he was like 16 at the time. And so he's really, he does really well in it. He's been through both my classes. When he went through the seal system class, the teacher was like, he was the best one in there, but he just don't have the confidence level up to go to customer houses right now, I guess, because he's just young. And he feel like once he go out, everything gonna go wrong. And I was like, as long as you think that way, everything will go wrong. I said, you have to think positive, you know? And I took him out with me one day recently, and I was saying, everything I touch works. Everything I touch works. And I'm telling you, when I took him out that day and I was saying that, and he could attest to it, every customer house we went to, I didn't have to do nothing. And it worked. Everything. Like I went up to this guy dishwasher and he was like, oh, it's working now. I'm like, I ain't do nothing. He said, oh, it wasn't even doing that. Like everything I touched, it just worked. And that's because I was saying that all day, you know, to prove to him. I said, look, everything I touch works. Everything I touch. You know, I went to somebody, washer was just about unplugging it, resetting it, you know, and it worked. Like we didn't have to do no heavy lifting that day. Everything works. So it's all in your mind. So if you think everything gonna go wrong, it will go wrong. Got to change that mindset.
Yeah. That's that law of attraction in motion right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. So what would you could say are your core values as an entrepreneur that you basically operate on? You know, like for me, my core values are freedom, creativity, and impact as an entrepreneur, because I want the freedom to be able to create the lifestyle that I want to live. And through building a business that gives me that freedom, so I can have the impact that I want to have on my family, my community, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I look at those three as being kind of like pretty solid, pretty stable core values. You know, there are other values, but when I really like boil everything down, those three kind of really stand out for me. So what would you consider to be, you know, core values for you know, SSG Academy and your business and just how you operate?
I would say integrity and I believe in taking care of who take care of you. So even though I say employees are the hardest part of the business, but I believe in definitely take care of you. So I really, you know, will take care of my instructors, but it's also like definitely freedom and just building generational wealth.
Outstanding. All right, so we're gonna end up with this. Favorite song and why?
My favorite song?
Because this ties back to, I'm gonna tell you why I'm asking this question. This ties back to, for me, childhood memories. And I know that a lot of the things that took place in our environment as children is why we are the people we are today. There are certain key moments in our upbringing that really defined how we approach life from that point. So I'll give you an example. My favorite song of all time is Wildflower by Newberg. I can remember the day that it became my favorite song. I was probably 9 or 10 years old. The song was playing. I was raised by my grandmother. The song was playing in the house because my grandmother always had music playing in the house. The song was playing. My uncle comes in and goes, that song is about your grandmama.
Mm.
And he said, because it describes her and what she's been through. And I don't remember all the details, but I remember him saying that to me. And from that day to this one, that's been my favorite song. Because I can always hear that song and I can always think about my grandmother. So it's like those type of things that just kind of just brings it all back home for me. Right. So that's the reason I asked that question, because what we see is favorite this, or what we see is, this is, I like this over this. It tells a lot about who we are and how we became who we are.
I don't know. I got so many favorite songs. But I loved me some Whitney Houston and her song, I Believe the Children Are the Future. So that's one of my favorites. And then besides that, it's all Beyonce. Okay. After that, it get to Beyonce. But from if I'm going from younger, Whitney Houston.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And why you picked up? Why you say that particular song?
I don't know, because she was and that song, it was a lot of talking about like find your strength and love, basically like learning to love yourself.
Okay.
And so that's just really the key. It took me a long time to learn myself, and to love myself. So that song talks a lot about that.
Resonance. So it resonated. Okay. All right, Mona, this has been a great experience for me. Hopefully it was for you as well.
Yes, it was.
I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and chop it up on Boss Talk. We bosses and we just talking. You know what I mean?
So. But we doers too.
Oh, most definitely. This is the time we get the time to sit back and just talk, just kick it. So definitely see you coming back on at some point and doing some updates and some announcements. So where can you be reached online? How can people get to you? And if they want to, come out to SSG Academy or whatever, how can they find you and all that good stuff?
Okay, they can visit the website at www.ssgapplianceacademy.com or email me at info@ssgapplianceacademy.com, and or they can do my link tree on SSG, and they got all my links there at SSG and have the YouTube and everything.
Okay.
And so Facebook, everything is at ssgapplianceacademy.com.
Outstanding. Well, there you have it. You've got no excuses now, folks. If you want to get into the appliance repair field and you want to get trained by some of the best trainers in the industry, you know how to reach out to Mona and SSG Academy and just make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yes, we have a great team of instructors for all different learning styles. So I have some of the best instructors. So I'm very proud of my team.
Cool. All right. Well, with that being said, we're gonna sign off, and we will see you guys in the next episode.
Yes.